Hello and welcome to the podcast We Are Selling. My name's Lee Woodward, the author of the Complete Salesperson course. Today's topic, program, podcast of the week is Total Control. And this is all about buyer management, the preparation, and just how you can accelerate a sale when all the preparation is done and you have total control. Helping me out today is going to be Jillian McGrath. Jillian, welcome to the program.
Hi, Lee. Thank you.
Good to have you with us. Just had another brilliant sale using the technique that I call the drag out.
It's a good terminology for it.
It is. Explain what happened.
It was a property, actually, I'd sold it before. Vendors were relocating. Very nice family home. I'd just finished showing a home and selling a home probably within 3 kilometres of this one, and had several buyers through that previous property. The buyer that finished up buying Crescent Road in a very short time period had been renting and still is renting, and they were absolutely overlooking. They'd had it and didn't want to continue. After the previous home, they said, no, we're not going to look anymore. We'll wait till the lease is up. And when I listed Crescent Road, I looked at the criteria of Crescent Road, and I always rate my properties out of 10 boxes and say to purchasers, if it gets to 7, buy it, because you can change anything cosmetically. It's only a matter of dollars. But if it's not facing the right way, it doesn't have the number of rooms, and it doesn't have the feel that you want, then don't buy it. So in rating this home for this buyer, I rated it at least at 8. And I rang the family back and I said, look, I've just seen a home. I've just left it. I've got a signed agency. I'll have the contract tomorrow. You need to come and have a look at it. I'm doing a preview on Saturday. I said, come and look at it. She said, do we really have to look at it, basically, because we're over it. We just don't want to come back. In saying that the boxes were ticked, 8 boxes, I think it was enough of an incentive for them to just make that one last look. And because I had gone through it in minute detail and said to them, you need to come and see it because you're going to regret not buying it, they did. They came and looked at it. They finished up buying that property within 3 days, pretty much, even with her going interstate. And that was because the sense of urgency of, and I just discussed this with Lee before going live, was that we had the choice of running it through the preview for the following week or actually running it to campaign. We made that decision that if we had a buyer there, that we'd close it off if it was within cooey of where our expectation was. We had a very realistic guide.
Jillian, our listeners thinking, explain preview.
Preview to me is before you actually expose the property into your supplement. I go back to my databases and I go through my open for inspection forms or lists. I call the appropriate buyers that I think are suitable for that property and I invite them to a preview listing or preview viewing. It makes them feel very special, and they are, because they get to see it before anyone else.
I love this technique. I used to call it coming soon. There's a window of opportunity. I can get you in before the property's open to the live market. Would you like to see it?
I think people, anyone, you ask yourself, if someone calls you and says, look, I'm doing a preview, I'd love you to see it before anyone else. Is that an incentive to see it? Absolutely.
And it gets some energy around the property. And this is a great way to settle the price of a home if the owner's thinking high.
Gives you that indication straight up. And also remember that the people that you're taking through for the preview are pre-qualified people that you've spoken with, shown other property to, and they are in competition. So when you do that preview, you may only have 4 to 6 groups, but they're all active buyers. So the energy level there is fantastic.
I like what you said back there before when you were speaking with this particular client and they said, we're over it. I love the clients who are over it because they're not going to go out and price shop you against 6 others in the energy of their first week in the open for inspections. They end up buying the best of what you have or have that trust to say, well, stuff it, this will do. They don't want to go out and look at 10 others and find something better.
Look, I couldn't agree more. And I think that you hear buyers say every day of the week, I've done 10 opens this week or I've done 10 inspections and I'm completely and absolutely over this. So what else have you got coming up? It's not that you really want to wear them down, but you really want to be very conscious of what they want and jump on that phone the moment that you see it and let them know. The moment you drive out of someone's driveway, let them know.
Jillian, you work in the area where I used to sell real estate. I had a lot of sales where everyone had given up on these people 4 months ago. I couldn't take anyone off my list unless they'd bought or died because everyone has a stimulation point where they think, oh, that'll do it. And I look back at some of those sales, and I remember one quarter I had a phenomenal conversion rate when nobody else was making sales. And my principal sat me down and said, take me through these. And I'd sold like 9 for the month. Tell me about this person. None of them were new. Most of them have been in my buyer database for 6 months as a minimum. Everybody else was working with leads from 5 weeks ago, couldn't make a sale. The person looking for a double family opportunity is a specific need. The person who owns a bobcat business and needs to be next to a swamp. Those stories bring out the best sales in us at the time that you have nothing else going on.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And I think that, but if you know that you've got 10 cashed up buyers and they're at different price ranges and they've got different briefs and you see a property, you clearly should have a property. The last 4 or 5 properties I've sold, all of them have been sold from that buyer database. In fact, every one of them.
Now, Jillian, there's 2 sales I want to question you on today. This one here is a great one, and the fact you dragged them out, they then become interested. Your rapport in this is the speed of trust that got the whole thing exchanged in 2 days. So all the effort you've put in previous,
yes,
and then suddenly, all right, we'll do it. It's not as if I met you on the weekend and I'm looking at you as if you're the typical real estate agent and my solicitor will get back to you. That total control, what the vendor gets in your expertise.
Well, I think that from the buyer's point of view, it's like I've said it before, and I've probably even, it's like knowing the colour of their undies. You have to be that close to them. You have to know exactly what they want, and you have to be able to act accordingly with their legal people, their building and pest inspector, whoever it is. You need to pull it together. You're the catalyst that draws in the elements for that transition. And likewise, the vendors trust in you initially to say, if you're going to do the preview, these are the people I'm bringing through. And you tell them, this is where they're buying. This is what money they've got. Now, they may be prepared to pay a bit more for yours, they may not. But I'm telling you now, this is the list I'm going to bring through. And when my vendor said to me, we never dreamt at the speed of lightning at which this would happen. But there was an underlying, I guess, thought from particularly the male partner of the vendors, where he said that they were relocating these people. And he actually said, I had a very, very strong inkling the moment we put our name on that agency agreement that I was on my way to Melbourne. He said, I knew that you wouldn't let anyone out of your sight.
Well, the testimonial of this one says it all. If you're serious about selling real estate, give it to Jillian. If you're not, don't engage her because she will sell it.
Yeah, I thought it was a wonderful testimonial in that sense because what it does for the agent, of course, in this case myself, but when you get testimonials like that, I guess it reinforces your energy level, the effort you put into something. Is it well worth it at the end of the day? Of course it is, because it's a win-win situation for everyone, no matter whether you're working through the night, whatever it takes.
Well, Jillian, you're no stranger to long hours to put a deal together. Let's go into another deal that you've just sold. I might have to get you to step the listener through this, where the purchaser, due to your great marketing, had done all investigations without stepping in the home, and then they got the building and pest report done and said to you they would turn up on the tail end of that. Explain this one.
That was a great example of how the marketing was so appropriate for the home, and on it was a property video, which I do probably on 99% of my homes. And this particular buyer had done the property video several times, had looked at the website, all the rest of it. It ticked a lot of their boxes. She had all her ducks in a row. It's the best way of describing it. She had her solicitor ready. She called me. I sent the contract straight online to the solicitor. She said to me, my building and pest inspector will be there at 10 o'clock and I'll turn up at the end of it at about 10 to 11 to have a look through. And if I like it and it's what we're looking for, I'll have an offer to you by the end of the day. And she did exactly that. Her finance was approved. There was no hesitation in this person, in this particular buyer, because she was well prepared.
With all the boxes ticked in your marketing, people like this can make an informed decision. They're going through the floor plan, the video, the photos, the virtual tour. They've got everything there in front of them to say, this looks like it. And in buyer management, they are key tools.
If you don't have that package together and you think about it, a buyer will go to maybe 5, 10, whatever it is, opens on a Saturday, they come home and they go, oh God, where was the loo in that one? Did it have a deck? If you don't have a floor plan on you 10 steps behind the next property. I mean, there literally has to be a recipe for that handout for every single buyer, so they are fully informed when they leave that property or when they see it online or in the paper. You're the person that's responsible for your vendor's home. You should know every inch of it, every light switch, everything. So when you're selling it, your job as the agent, I believe, anyhow, is to sell the property, not list it. You're the person that knows the nitty-gritty of it. You're the person with the passion. You're the person with the excitement. And I guess for me, the responsibility lies with me. It stops with me. I can't then say, why didn't we get that deal across the line, Tony, because you didn't tell them it had half cathedral ceilings. I'm not out there to blame anyone. I'm out there to secure the sale of that property in the shortest time period at the maximum price, and it's my job.
Jillian, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure, Lee.